get time to realize it's right before my eyes, and I can take it if it's what I want to do.
At this point, we are firmly in the era of phones just looking the same as last year's model, alongside repetitive launch keynotes where we know exactly what's...
These are the best and most capable iPhones we've ever made.
Okay. And whilst on the face of it, the Pixel 10 launch might seem like just another minor and boring spec bump, albeit one that's covered up in song and dance.
This works perfectly fine with your Apple MagSafe accessories.
Can you say... Can you say accessories?
And we love everybody in the game, so we can say anyone's name we want on this stage.
That's what I'm talking about, all right.
This may very well be the tipping points, the spark that lights the fire, and the start of the biggest shift we've seen in over a decade. Now, this video isn't sponsored by Google. It is sponsored by MagBak, but more of them just a little bit later. But this is the first time in a very long time that I've actually seen comments on my previous video about the Pixel pretty much all be from iPhone users saying that the Pixel 10 is like the one phone that is going to make them switch from an iPhone. And so as a previously lifelong iPhone user, I kind of want to do this on behalf of the millions and millions of other lifelong iPhone users that are out there who are interested in switching to a Google Pixel, particularly the Google Pixel 10. And even if you're not switching from an iPhone and you're switching from a previous generation Android, maybe the Pixel 9, then just exploring what is the Pixel 10 all about this year. And I won't sugarcoat this, there are both good and bad things about the Pixel 10 series, but I will remind you that I like experiencing these phones like normal people do. I'm a husband, I'm a dad, I listen to music, I go to the gym, I'm 400 days into a Duolingo streak right now. We don't do benchmarks here, and I don't do those side-by-side camera comparisons. I just need to know that when I need to use my phone, it's going to work. And if I'm trying to capture photos or videos, that it's actually going to capture them when I need them, and not slow down and lag, or just be able to capture those moments with kids and pets and all the usual kind of stuff. Now, the design of the Pixel 10 Pro is pretty much the same as the Pixel 9 Pro. Actually, I used the Pixel 9 Pro XL in my last video about setting up the Pixel 10, and sure, a fair few of you did notice, but much like the iPhone, the minor and very incremental upgrades are getting harder and harder to spot. In fact, for the first time in, I think, literally ever, the MagBak case for my Pixel 10 Pro XL actually fits my Pixel 9 Pro XL, kinda, just to show you how little has really changed. Now, for all of the iPhone users out there, yes, MagSafe is finally available on an Android phone without needing to buy like an extra case, although they're calling it Pixel Snap, not MagSafe. It is using the new Qi 2 wireless charging standard, which also includes the magnets, so hopefully this is only the beginning of seeing, hopefully, this come to other Android phones as well. However, I will say that now those magnets are on there, that also means that reverse wireless like power sharing, a feature that has helped me charge my wife's iPhone multiple times over the past few years, and also used to be able to charge your Pixel Watch until they took that away. Well, that is just completely no longer possible due to the magnets there, which does kind of suck. Also, speaking of stuff that sucks, if you are in the US, then they've also made the Pixel 10 series eSIM only, which, well, I guess if you're coming from an iPhone, then that's not really much of an issue or news, because they did that from the iPhone 14 and onwards, I think it was. And it is kind of a good thing, since SIM swapping fraud cases are like rising every single year. But for those of us who like being able to move a physical SIM between phones, like reviewing phones, or when you're traveling somewhere like Dubai and you can get a free data SIM in the airport with a couple of gigs worth of data for free, which you now can't use. So yeah, that also kind of sucks. Okay, so this is the Pixel 10 on the right, and then the Pixel 9, both of these Pro XL models. Other than the color difference, there's not really a huge amount between them. Camera bumps are pretty similar. It's a bit bigger, ever so slightly on the Pixel 10. You can tell these. So on the Pixel 10, the SIM card slot is on the top, whereas the Pixel 9 has the SIM card slot on the bottom. If you are not in America, which is eSIM only. We've also got the Z Fold 7, which I was using up until now with using the Pixel 10 instead. But also, these turned up the other day. These are dummy phones. So this is a, excuse the fingerprints because it's very fingerprinty. This is what the iPhone 17 Pro Max is going to look like with the camera bump. It's quite similar how they've copied that kind of camera bump approach, and the off-center Apple logo, which is a bit odd. Again, excuse the fingerprints. But yeah, everything else looks pretty similar to last year's. That's the white model. And we've also got the iPhone 17, or what's rumored to be the iPhone 17 Air. So this is going to be it's going to be iPhone 17, iPhone 17 Air, then the iPhone 17 Pro and the Pro Max models. It's very thin. So this is like a mock-up where the case companies will use these to make sure their case fits. How is that compared to the Z Fold 7? So let's just open it up without the case, of course. It's very, very similar to the Z Fold 7, which is extremely thin. So that's going to be interesting to see how well it sells this year. But I'll put that next to the Pixel. Again, Pixels haven't really done anything with, how their phone thickness is this year. I think this does look very clean though. Very clean aesthetic. The Google logo in the middle. Camera bar means that it doesn't wobble or anything if you put it down to type on it. Glossy rails. Screen is really nice. Again, I've got the matte screen protector on this one because that makes a massive difference. But I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about the rumored iPhone models? And really, is this going to keep you on iPhone just from a new design? Or do the Pixels actually have something more interesting to look at? Let me know in the comments. The display itself is brighter this year. It hits 3,300 peak nits. And so far, it has also been capable of staying really bright for a long time, like even in the sun, outdoors, in the heat. Whereas the iPhone and even more recent phones like the Samsung Z Fold 7 dim very quickly in the heat, like within minutes, which then makes them impossible to see in the sun. And so having a bright display just becomes pointless. Now I've never had that with the Pixel so far. So great brightness and actually stays bright on very hot days too. And I say very hot, this is the UK kind of very hot, so like 30 degrees Celsius is kind of hot. Now, one thing I was hoping for that we'd see on this year's Pixels phones is an anti-glare technology on the display, which we've seen on flagships like the S25 Ultra, because when you're using these phones outside in bright sunlight, it really does make a huge difference. But this can be fixed with a third party, so you'll probably notice in pretty much all of my video footage here that I actually have this matte screen protector fitted onto my phone. Maybe you hate it, I love it. It just makes a massive difference when using this phone outside. And it even makes like tapping and browsing around the screen feel like really nice and smooth. It's kind of like running your finger over the back frosted glass instead, rather than the front glass, which is more sticky, I guess let's call it. And it cost me like £15 here in the UK, and I got 3 of them in the box. And actually, going back to what I said earlier about the design being so similar, this is actually for a Pixel 9 Pro XL, and they fit perfectly well. And then alongside that screen protector, I added a MagBak case because, well, that's how I use all of my phones. I literally open the box, I put them straight in a case along with a screen protector. Now, yes, it does what, well, any case should do by protecting it from minor drops, minor scratches. But the reason why I love these specific cases so much is because of the extra features. The built-in finger loop can be tucked away when not in use. There's a magnetic kickstand, which is great for portrait or landscape. There's a cushion to rest your pinky on, which also doubles up as extra protection from either water getting in or just fluff from your pockets, just getting into the charging ports. And all of these can be customized, by the way, with different color packs, including the rubber grips on the side of the case. There's even an included screen protector that comes in the pack, which is super easy to apply. And then there's this Case's party trick, which is these additional magnets that let you stick your phone to anything metal. Gym equipment whilst working out, or your kitchen, maybe you're watching a video or talking to a friend, or maybe just the MagBak wallet. And yeah, you can do that too, because this case has the strongest magnets I've ever seen on a case before. So now anywhere metal becomes a safe place to stick your phone. And those magnets don't interfere with wireless charging either. Now, friends of mine know how much I genuinely love these cases. Whichever phone I'm carrying at the time, if MagBak makes a case, I want it. And you can get 15% off using the link down below in the description. And a huge thank you once again for MagBak for sponsoring this video. Very, very minor thing I'm going to mention here as well. For some reason, Pixel swaps the power and the volume buttons around on all of their phones. So if you use any other Android phone, what's this? This is a Samsung phone. So power button on the bottom, volume rocker on the top. Pixels always have their power button on the top and the volume buttons underneath. This does get easier. Obviously you're going to get used to this. And actually I find it more intuitive to have it this way round, but it takes some adjustment time to go and find those buttons with your fingers naturally without you having to hunt and go, oh yeah, sorry, that's the power button. I need to do the other one instead. So Kind of frustrating if you do switch devices often, but again, most people watching these videos are probably buying one device and keeping it for a year or two. So that is pretty much a non-issue, but I'm going to call it out anyway because it's a different thing about the phone. So yeah. Let's jump to performance and also reliability now, because that is something that a lot of people are interested in with the new Tensor G5, and it's also an interesting one. So I'm gonna have to caveat this here very heavily because I have had some bugs, quite a few bugs, but I've also had quite a few updates for this phone over the last few days, like camera updates especially, along with just updates for all the other Google apps on here. And I haven't experienced those bugs again since. But again, full transparency, I wanna just let you know what my real world experience has been like with this phone. So for performance, like I said, not doing benchmarks here, but it is fast. Like I did set my animation speed to 0.5x by going into the developer settings, which more on that in my previous video if you want to know more about that. But generally speaking, zero issues with how fast this phone performs. Now I don't do a huge amount of gaming, but I do, play some Fortnite from time to time, and it's kind of as I expected. It does perform incredibly well, but definitely warms up whilst you are playing it. It's not uncomfortably warm, but definitely warm, and I've had it like for about an hour's worth of gameplay. But when I was out biking with my son and just taking a bunch of photos and videos, the phone actually crashed on me, like full on crashed mid using it, where I had to hard reboot the phone to fix it. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to catch that on video. It then also crashed on me the very next day when I was at a theme park with my daughter. Well, it has switched itself off and crashed. Just before it did that, I was trying to record some videos and it wouldn't record for anything. Oh, it looks like it's switching back on again. But yeah, first time it's crashed for me. And plus, a few times I've been shooting some high resolution like 8K video or maybe using the video boost feature. Haven't quite figured it out yet. But a few times whilst inside the camera, it started feeling like a bit laggy and a bit unresponsive. Also been taking loads of videos right now and the phone's already getting warm. So yeah, mostly shot in 4K, a few shot in 1080p. Literally just shot one video in 8K. And like the phone noticeably got warm when I was shooting in definitely in 8K and even 4K when I was shooting quite a few back-to-back clips. So there's that. But there is something else that I also can't quite put my finger on just yet. But I swear that some of my photos are just missing. Like this video of me and my daughter after we just grabbed an ice cream. I swear I took a photo of both of us because I wanted to send it to my wife and show her what we were up to on that day. But it's just not there. So either I took the photo when I actually didn't, or it just didn't save the photo. And it's not once that's happened, it's happened maybe like 3 or 4 times. So I don't think it's me not taking photos. And whilst we are here talking about photos and videos, I usually snap like a quick selfie at the end of each of my gym sessions just to upload alongside the workout in the Heavy app that I use. But when I did that, then go back into Heavy to try and find the photo, it took a good amount of time, like seconds, for it to then appear, which I've never seen before on any other phone. It's normally like instantaneously there. Oh, Joyce. Bug. Another bug. So now it's just not working at all. So, bugs. And as per usual, I haven't been able to make it do that again. It's just always works. Also, that video of me in the garden earlier today talking about my like 400-day Duolingo streak, I had to shoot that twice because even though I finished the recording after I'd finished speaking, for some reason, it just totally cut short the recording and missed the last like second or two completely. The photos or take the videos that I need to. But, lots of buts in this video. All those bugs aside, the cameras themselves are some of the best. I absolutely love the look of photos shot on Pixel phones. I do feel like we're firmly in the territory now of Android just being more capable of taking better photos, whether that's the upgraded hardware or if it's just, Google doing some crazy AI post-processing, which ultimately just gets you better photos. And photos you are just more likely to share with friends and family and post on social media over photos shot on an iPhone. Unless, I will caveat this, you are heavily into photo editing in like Lightroom and shooting RAW, in which case the iPhone may still have the edge there. Now we've also got some competition now for the S25 Ultra's crazy like 100 times zoom. But again, being Google, it is mostly AI, albeit at least it's on-device AI and not like pulling anything in from the internet. And I'm not actually sure what I think about this yet. Like this photo of a pigeon sat on top of a house. Once Google's AI has done its like thing, it is kind of really different to what the original photo was, like the colors, the edges. It but it does look very clean. It just looks like AI generated. And is it really any different to like the moon photos that the likes of the S24 and 25 Ultra fakes? And it depends on what you're taking a photo of, right? So for buildings and objects where it can clearly recognize that it, is a building and, AI generated bricks, then they're going to look great. And it does also solve the whole like oil painting look that you get with something like the S25 Ultra when it zooms in all the way. But for people, animals, it's going to give you some very different results. You're probably just going to dismiss this straight away as being awful out of pure principle, whereas others will just love it and not see any issues whatsoever. So just remembered something. I think I remembered something with the Pixel briefing. So when you're using the like 100 times telephoto zoom AI thing, I think that if you're trying to take photos of like faces and people's faces, it's obviously uses AI to know that it's a person's face and doesn't then do as much AI processing. If you notice there, it kind of like adjusted the colors and the saturation and those kind of things. With my face, it didn't do any like massive, hey, here's a haircut and here's like the beard and like, kind of like it did with the pigeon where it just kind of replaced it with AI generated versions of everything. So worth just mentioning that when you zoom in on people, it's not going to be as heavy handed with the AI. It just like adds some light kind of photo retouches essentially. But overall, I would say that the photos are always excellent. They're probably some of the nicest and cleanest shots from all of the other flagships out there right now. And even Night Sight does an incredible job with low light shots on the Pixel 10 as well. But video quality, it's good enough for like family photos and family videos. Like going back to what I said earlier, I want it to capture those memories, and it does that as long as it doesn't miss them and forget them, like I mentioned earlier. But for professional work, I don't think so. I know the Jonas Brothers shot a whole music video using the Pixel 9 Pro XL, and they shot it like handheld, no fancy kind of rigs or anything. But compare this to, the shot on iPhone videos we all see, except there are like custom camera lenses and lighting rigs and a whole production crew, in addition to shooting in the ProRes RAW format, which then makes iPhone videos just look like a cinema camera. So it's not a fair comparison. It's definitely a more realistic example of what the Pixel is capable of. But I and plenty of other creators have used video footage from other phones, not just the iPhone, but from the S25 Ultra, and you probably couldn't tell the difference. But let's see what you think for yourself. So on one hand, we are shooting with the iPhone 16 Pro with ProRes RAW. So we're shooting in log formats with the kind of highest quality settings. And in the other hand, we're shooting with the Pixel 10 Pro XL, non-HDR on either of the phones. It's just basically shooting in the highest quality possible. Only shooting in 4K on the Pixel. We could shoot in 8K, but I just kind of want to compare 4K versus 4K at the moment. So let me know what you think. Comments down below. But also, does it even matter? Like I said, if all you are doing is capturing family memories, it's still an incredible camera if you excuse those like initial reliability issues. As it stands, it's not been the smoothest experience. Missing photos, videos cut off too early, buggy performance, and multiple crashes within the first 2 days of using it. It really isn't the best start. But I did get this phone about a week ahead of its launch, so just to caveat that. And it has been out for about another week, and I've just not had any further issues since. Also, a quick hack kind of thing here. I've used this a couple of times and it's been actually a really good way of taking better selfies. Now, if you enabled the guided frame setting in the camera settings, and then if you happen to be wearing earbuds, or I was just wearing my my Meta glasses, I could then hear the phone telling me to move the phone up or down, one person in frame, two people in the frame, and then the haptics would count down to snap a photo.
One face cropped. Move your phone right. Hold. One face. Move your phone slightly right and up. Hold.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. And that way I can actually get some really nice quality photos and selfies using like the proper camera lenses in portrait mode, in normal mode, and just do that rather than using like the lower quality front facing camera instead. Oh, and the last complaint here. But the video boost feature, which is meant to use Google's like AI processing in the cloud to improve the quality of a video by sending it up to Google to do stuff with. I shot a video at like 12:15 p.m. and it popped up in my notifications over 7 hours later to say that the video boost version was ready. And it was an 8-second clip. So now, don't get me wrong, there is a lot to like about the Pixel 10 series. Now we have MagSafe. And we also get Apple Intelligence, except this one actually works. Well, apparently. And it's actually all of the good stuff that Apple Intelligence promised, but so far have actually failed to deliver. Aside from Genmojis and other just thoroughly useless AI features that I and most people I know just don't even care for, and most of them just switch it off altogether. And so instead of a bunch of features still being developed, with Google you get a whole host of actually useful AI features. There's Gemini Live, where you can have live conversations whilst sharing your phone screen or even pointing your camera at something. That's even clever enough to remember where you left something. Hey Gemini, I just want to show you around the studio space just to give you a quick tour. We've got some footballs up here from Manchester United. This one's signed by the 93 Manchester United team, and this one's signed by the 2025 Manchester United team. This is one of my desks down here. Just I've got a Fortnite llama, which I thought was pretty cool. My son helped me build that one, which was nice. I've got a couple of other bits on the desk around here as well, a couple of plants. And yeah, I'm not going to show you over here because it's a bit messy. Quick question. Do you know where I left my Google Pixel Bud Pro 2s?
Yes, I do. Your Google Pixel Buds Pro 2 box is sitting right there on the coffee table next to the Lego Fortnite llama. Can you see it?
Yes, I've got it. Thank you very much. Also, have you seen my MetaQuest headset anywhere?
Yes, your MetaQuest headset is on the desk in front of you, next to the lamp and the plant. Do you need anything else?
No, that's great. Thank you. Something I'm also struggling with Pixel at the moment is that since I bought last year's Pixel 9 Pro, that my AI Pro subscription has now expired, or rather I was going to have to pay for it, so I cancelled it. And it's not giving me any options. Re-get my free year because I've now bought a second Pixel 10 Pro. But you can still see that it thinks I have an Ultra subscription when I'm pretty sure I don't because I've cancelled it. And if I tap on this, it just takes me to like a web article. So I don't know, I assume I'm meant to be able to get my years free, even though I've had it previously in a previous year, but that's just worth noting. I think this is only for UK people. If you buy any Pixel 10 in the UK, you get a year's free Google AI Pro, whereas in the States, I'm pretty sure it is only on the Pixel 10 Pro and Pro XL series, so just worth noting. There is the camera coach, which I don't really have time for when, all I usually have is a split second before my kid then runs off again, but I can see that being useful to others. Angle the box so the Google logo is visible. Change phone orientation landscape to complement the box's shape and capture. Okay. And lower the camera slightly to emphasize the table line. Center the box in frame. Take the photo. I guess. Yeah, okay. And improvements to the photo editing features, which were already incredibly good, which now just let you tell it what you want it to do, and it just does it without needing to sit there and tap away on things and erasing and just spending a lot of time. Slight problem is it only works in the US. According to their online article, you have to go into your photo settings and enable certain things and do all sorts of things, which is kind of the norm with lots of new Google features. You have to go and enable things in places to get it to work. But yeah, outright, if you're not in the US, it does not work. So I can't test that. And there is also Magic Q, which is supposed to pull information from other apps or your emails just to make finding that information at the right moment that much easier. Now, this is one new feature that I'm really excited for, as just the number of times I have to go and look for an email or look for a message to pull some information off is multiple times a day. But so far, I've just not been able to get it working at all. I flat out just don't have the Magic Q options showing on my phone. I've tried it with multiple different accounts, even reading up on how the Magic Q feature works. It looks like it's going to work the same as Gemini, where it's kind of tied to a particular account. It has been really interesting seeing the reviews that have come out on the Pixel 10. For the first week that we've had this phone, which was pre-launch, Magic Q hasn't worked at all. Just the feature wasn't there, wasn't enabled, we couldn't use it. And yet a lot of reviews talked about Magic Q and said how amazing it was. Currently, so I've had it for about a week or so, there's two issues with Magic Q. Firstly, it doesn't seem to really work that well. We've tried to kind of pre-stage and set up some, cases where it should be pulling from the calendar for events. And all it does is says, gives you a link to calendar. It doesn't actually tell you the information from the calendar. It just gives you a quick shortcut to the calendar. So that's the first one. And then secondly, it kind of has the same issue as Google Gemini, and that is that you have to have the account signed in for the data that it can access. So for example, with Google Gemini, if I want to read stuff from my emails, I have to be signed into that email account's Gemini account. And so with Magic Q, I have I have a personal account on my phone, I have a work account on my phone, and it can only pull from that account that it's related to. So for example, if I have a message that says, what time is the thing today, it can only pull information from the account it's signed into. It can't actually then cross-check with my other calendars if I have 3 or 4 calendars on there. So that's one thing that is always and forever, I think, going to be an issue here. This is the whole issue with AI and obviously privacy and data security, in that you kind of want to, or rather have to, give it access to everything because it needs access to everything to give you the most accurate data. But then also you don't want to give it access to everything because AI and privacy and not a good idea to give it access. So Magic Q is very early days so far. If anyone says it's amazing, just take it with a pinch of salt. They probably haven't even tried it yet. But right now, it really doesn't work that well. One step ahead of Apple, I guess, but still not working. Which kind of defeats the purpose of this smart AI system, because then you're having to open up Magic Q, change the account it's signed in with, and then try and do the action you were just going to do, at which point you might as well just look up the information yourself already. Now, this isn't unusual with new AI features though, at least not for me here in the UK. With the Call Screen and Call Hold AI features, those took a while to roll out and appear on my phone, and even then there was a certain amount of faffing involved with trying different accounts and updating and those kind of things. So if there is any update, I'm just going to add a clip here, or I can just add it to the video description down below. I just hope that they can solve that multiple accounts thing, though I have a feeling they're just not going to do that, as that's exactly the same way that Google Gemini works, with it being just account specific and requiring you to change between accounts if you want to ask it to go, find an email or something. Overall, sure, AI isn't perfect as far as, AI features go. I still don't have Google Gemini with Android Auto. That is, again, meant to be, rolling out very soon. It's been saying very soon for a very long time, because the basic Google Assistant is just still and forever horrible at sending messages on WhatsApp. And then there's Gemini's responses, which can be, questionable at the best of times. But with all of those caveats, at least we are seeing Gemini updates come out all the time. I literally get almost daily emails from Google telling me about new Gemini features. So unless Apple pulls something incredible out of the bag in the next 2 weeks, this really might be what makes a lot of people change, because never in the history of Apple have I seen them fumble the ball this bad before. Okay, let's just tie up some loose ends here. Battery and charging. Right out of the box, this phone's battery has been excellent. I'm getting to the end of the day with around 20% battery left, and each day is just getting better and better as the Android battery optimization kicks in. I also haven't had any issues with it getting warm unless I'm doing some very heavy gaming, and except for that one time when I was out on a hot day shooting lots of videos. Some of it was in 8K, but I've done a few tests since where I just leave the phone recording in 8K for up to 10 minutes and it still wasn't warm at that point. Plus, again, with this year's upgrades, it's actually nice having the Pro XL with faster charging speeds. This is something I wish the smaller Pro model had. I think it's 45 watts on the XL and then 30 watts on the regular Pro. But I still think I would take the smaller phone over the faster charging. So I'm actually gonna switch over to the smaller Google Pixel 10 Pro, the non-XL model. Face Unlock also works very well here with the Pixel. Those of you coming from the iPhone, the Pixel is, I think, the only Android phone that actually has a version of Face Unlock that also works for other apps that require additional security. So banking apps, password managers. Other Android phones force you to use your fingerprint. Instead, they don't have a certified Face Unlock feature. Pixel's Face Unlock is faster, by the way. I also have the animation speeds set to 0.5x in the developer settings, again, which speeds up browsing around the phone even more. Something you just can't do on an iPhone. So if you are moving from an iPhone and not getting on with the fingerprint or the Face Unlock thing, just give it time. Honestly, you will love it when you realize how fast it is. And then there's also Google Pay. Zero issues with it on this phone. Now, it's the summer holidays right now whilst making these videos. We've taken the kids to a lot of places. I've spent a lot of money. Bank accounts are now very empty, but Google Pay works flawlessly. Just like the other phones, like the iPhone, these Pixels can literally just, wave the phone near the card reader and it works every time. So that works fantastically. Now, the question of whether you should buy one or not, and I say this to everyone who asks me, if you are using an iPhone and you are bored of it, then try something new. And actually a Pixel is a pretty good start here. You've got MagSafe, Gemini, great cameras, great software. You can even use your AirPods. Lots of your MagSafe accessories are still going to work. And excusing the bugs, which I think at this stage I'm going to say have been ironed out in the recent updates, I would recommend this phone to my friends as a great alternative to an iPhone. So if you are interested in exactly how to switch, then check this video out. Otherwise, try this one, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you, bye-bye.